Downing Street says the government has ruled out any extra cash for pay rises after review bodies recommended new deals for teachers and NHS staff above the 2.8% that ministers have budgeted for. The BBC understands that the pay review body for teachers in England has recommended a rise of about 4% this year, while its NHS equivalent has recommended about 3%. The Conservatives say the Chancellor doesn't have the money to pay for it. Our political correspondent Ian Watson reports.
Independent pay review bodies recommend the level of increase which they believe is necessary to retain and recruit public sector staff. Last year, the government accepted their recommendations in full. This year, ministers have a dilemma. The Chancellor has budgeted for a 2.8% increase, but the recommended pay rises are higher than this. Downing Street had said there'll be no additional funding for pay awards, so ministers would have to either ignore the pay review body's advice or, more likely, have to meet any increase above 2.8% from within their existing departmental budgets, in other words, by making cuts or by finding often elusive efficiency savings. That prospect has not pleased the public sector unions. While the recommendation for teachers is a 4% pay increase, the head of the National Education Union, Daniel Kebede, told the World at One if the government wanted to avoid strike action, it should ensure that the Treasury fully funds the pay awards.
What teachers need and education professionals need is an above-inflation pay award that takes steps to address the crisis in recruitment and retention, but most crucially is fully funded. If they're not fully funded, then schools will have to make cuts, which no teacher wants to see.
And the health unions are likely to regard the 3% recommendation for most NHS staff as inadequate. The Royal College of Nursing called for direct negotiations with the government and said it was consulting members on what action, including industrial action, that they were prepared to take over pay. The Prime Minister said today NHS staff were now back on the front line and not the picket line. But it seems there's no guarantee they'll stay there.